Picture this. In 2021, over 2.3 million Zambian children were effectively locked out of the future because their parents couldn't afford Parents-Teachers Association fees or exam charges. Today, as we open the 2026 academic term, those children aren't on the streets. They're in class, but walk into any public school in Lusaka and you'll see the good problem Minister Douglas Siakalima often talks about. 80 to 100 students in a room meant for 40. So here's the news as of early this year. The government is tabling a bill in Parliament to turn this policy into permanent law. What policy am I talking about? Mandatory free education. They are Zambia-proofing an education so that no future leader can take this right away. But is a free education worth it if your child is sitting on the floor? Today, we look at the price of free. Welcome to the Indaba. The economic benefit is immediate because there's a family pay raise. You see, for a typical household, free education is essentially a tax-free pay raise. Here's the ledger. By removing tuition and Parent-Teachers Association fees, families are saving between 600 and 3,000 kwacha plus per child per year. So the macro win is easy. Because where's the money going? Well, our data shows it's being re-injected into the local economy. Parents are pivoting those savings into better nutrition, food security, and SME microcapital. So we're seeing the national poverty rate nudge downward because the education tax has been lifted from the poor. And this is the human capital dividend in action. And now there are hidden costs because the not-so-free reality is as follows. There's still uniforms and books that need to be paid for. These remain the parents' burden, often costing 500 to 2,200 kwacha for a full set. And then there's the boarding gap. While tuition is free, boarding remains a significant cost. The CDF secondary school bursary we talked about in episode 30 is meant to cover this, but administrative delays often leave vulnerable students stranded at the school gate. Then there's the learning tax, which is the biggest hidden cost, and that is quality. In a class of 80, the teacher spends more time on crowd control than calculus. For those who can afford it, we're seeing a flight to quality, where parents pay for low-cost private schools to avoid the congestion. We're creating a two-tier system, education for the poor versus education for the prosperous. Let's look some more at the risks, the objections, the sustainability, and the 2026 law. Here's risk number one, which is the infrastructure lag. The 2026 budget allocated 33.4 billion kwacha to free education. This includes building 120 new schools, but enrollment is growing at 5 times the speed while we build at 1 times the speed. And then there's the 2026 law. Critics say that this is an election year bribe. To counter this, the February 2026 Education Amendment Bill seeks to entrench free education as a legal right. Let's have a look at the business perspective here. After all, this is business in Indaba. As a business community, we should support this, and I'll tell you why. Because the Zambia-proof economy needs a literate workforce. It's as simple as that. We're trading short-term classroom comfort or discomfort for a 2030 generation that can actually read a contract, which I think is a big win. So here's my human capital verdict and some of the next steps that need to be taken. Education is the ultimate long game. We're in a messy middle right now. Classrooms are full, teachers are tired, and desks are scarce. But the alternative was 2 million children with no future. The question isn't whether we can afford free education. No, it's whether we can afford the cost of an uneducated nation. Here's a question for you, for the Indaba. If you're a parent, have you noticed a drop in quality? Or is the fee relief the only thing keeping your family afloat right now? Let's have an Indaba. So there you have it. Join us in the next episode as we tackle the logical next step of this journey, which is the civil service recruitment drive. We'll ask the hard question. Can the thousands of new teachers and medics actually boost our GDP? Or are we just bloating the wage bill? Well, we'll answer that in the next one. But until then, like, subscribe, and tell us your school story. Stay safe and stay productive and stay Zambia-proof.